With Rossum, you can automate all your paperwork and ensure consistent error-free processes. Rossum understands documents in more than 270 languages. It intelligently validates, transforms, and enriches document information in line with your standard operating procedures and master data. And takes actions like sending emails, requesting approvals, and rejecting documents just like a person would, minimizing the paperwork that your team has to do while keeping them and you in the loop. Today, Rossum has processed $1.3 trillion worth of transactions, protecting companies from fraud and errors, helping them pay and ship on time, and digitalizing their processes. Rossum, changing how paperwork works.
In the previous part of the demo, we saw a short example of the accounts payable process in which we automatically enforced several business rules. In this second part, we will look at how easy it is to set up such business rules. At the end, we will also try to cooperate with a true multi-turn autonomous agent. But before we start, let me share a bit of customer perspective. When we speak to finance teams around the world, one topic keeps being repeated. Their IT capacity is very limited, and they need to be able to build and maintain the automation themselves. They typically have the whole process defined in their standard operating procedures, which are usually Word documents describing what their employees should do in various situations. But since we are speaking about processing money, it's extremely important that the execution of such procedures is reliable and consistent. There is no space for hallucinations or any other kind of mistakes. So in this part of the demo, we will look at how Rossum handles this requirement, and we will explore 3 standard operating procedures. We will start with a simple purchase order check. If the amount exceeds $5,000 and the PO is missing, the task is to raise an error, block automation, and add a label so that a human colleague can verify what's going on. That's quite simple, but it can get more complex. So we will also explore an operating procedure for situations that there is a risk that the company will miss an early payment discount just because the order requester hasn't provided proof of delivery yet. This is quite typical. The AP process can sometimes be blocked by somebody else in the company, and in such cases, Rossum needs to escalate across IT systems. So in this example, the task is to notify the requester via Slack if missing proof of delivery prevents an early payment discount above $500. Please realize that in this case, Rossum needs to be able to verify that we are missing proof of delivery in the master data. It needs to be able to reason about the transaction to identify $500 discount, and it also needs to be able to send a Slack message. So it's quite complex multi-step automation. In the last example, we will do something that is not possible to execute at scale if we are not augmented with AI. We will add additional layer of security to the AP process by asking Rossum to verify non-PO invoice traffic by going on the internet to search for the supplier and assess if they look legitimate. This is something that normally cannot be done. AP teams typically base their anti-fraud defense on the purchase order mechanisms or approvals, but this little agent adds an extra layer of security by checking if the invoice is not a total fake. So let's hop into it. We start in a queue that already includes 3 example documents, but we need to add the business rules. I'll go to the settings sections. And even though I already have 2 operating procedures here, I'm going to build the first one from scratch. As you can see, Rossum just asks what I want to do, and that's it. So I'm going to type it there. If the amount C $5,000 and the PO is missing, raise an error, block the automation, and the label. And just by doing that, we created an operating procedure here in Rossum. It's automatically described here, but the more interesting things are below. Here we see when this procedure will be executed. When amount due exceeds $5,000, an order number is missing. Here we see that this procedure will execute the following actions. it will show an error message, it will block the automation, and it will assign a label. Below, we finally see that Rossum runs some tests on the documents in the queue, and we see where it will be met. So let's have a look. Here we see that the procedure notified me, and we have an error. The error says that the invoice is high value and requires a valid PO match, so we cannot confirm this. I cannot click here and confirm it. So it works exactly as we want it. But let's have a look at more complex cases. Here, we have a procedure that notifies the requester via Slack if a missing proof of delivery prevents an early payment discount over $500. So let's have a look how it works. Again, it has a condition that says when it will be triggered. It triggers when early payment discount amount is greater than $500 and the proof of delivery is missing or empty. Below, we have the actions. It will show an error message. In this case, it will actually send a Slack message, and it will again assign some labels. So let's have a look how it works. I'll turn it on, and here. And we see the error message. Potential miss of early payment discount due to missing proof of delivery. Requester has been notified via Slack. And in this example, I was the requester, and I have a Slack open here. So we can open it. We see Rossum bot message, and I see the request. Provide proof of delivery to avoid missing discount. I see the invoice details, and I can directly click, adjust anything that I need to adjust directly in Rossum. Nice, so it works. You can go back. We also see that the labels are popping here, so the users can directly see it from the dashboard. Let's go to the third row. When does it trigger? It triggers when the amount is between $100 and the PO threshold, which is $5,000. And what it does, it verifies online whether the supplier appears legitimate, and it assigns labels again. So let's have a look how it works. I'll turn it on again, and we will open it. On the bottom of the screen, we see that Rossum is validating this transaction. And here we have the warning. I cannot definitely confirm the legitimacy of abc.com or its specific address through the search results. While there are resources for checking in your business registrations, I did not find concrete proof of this specific company's existence or address, which is correct. Because for this example, I used a totally fictional supplier, so it worked and warned us against potential fraud. So in this second part of our demo, we have showcased how Rossum can interpret and execute standard operating procedures in plain English, how it can leverage diverse data sources while doing it, such as capture data, master data, or reason data, and how it can execute various types of actions, including more complex ones, such as sending Slack message or searching the internet.